Vishayam Teriyame, without knowing, you can get into this with devotion, with kainkaryam, with worship, with prayer, with love. You come into this. And this was further developed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose the lineage of whom is the ISKCON following now, the Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established this even further. He said, all you do is come along and chant Hare Rama Hare Krishna. Don't need to know anything. You don't need to know this philosophy, that philosophy. Philosophy started dissolving. Love, devotion, bhakti started becoming stronger and stronger. Because it was a time when we didn't have the internet. It's important to understand. This is a time when internet was not available. Then how will this knowledge spread to the masses? How will the knowledge go to the masses? How will you enlighten the masses? Right? You will have pockets of gurus and acharyas and teachers teaching at certain pockets, and only when somebody goes there with that interest and wants to listen will get that knowledge. But how do you get the masses to enjoy and relish this knowledge and this understanding? So this slowly from the time of Ramanuja, it became more of devotion and bhakti, which is why it is called as a Bhakti Vedanta movement. Jnana Vedanta became Bhakti Vedanta. But we are at a time now, and this is where I see this, we are at a time when all of the past teachers now suddenly come together in a single mass, in a cloud. All the teachers have been there. They are all now present to us like an internet cloud. In the internet, what information is greater than what information? There is nothing. There is no weight or there is no priority for information. It's information. It's a cloud of information that's available. So in the same way, today we are at a crossroads where all of this information is available to us. Teachers are available. Texts are available. Knowledge is available. Ways of worship is available. So extremely important to understand at this day and age that all of these tools that have come out through various of these teachers, various of these acharyas, we absorb them in whatever ways we get exposed to them. We absorb and we make it our own. And today we are in a place where you can make your own path. You can create your own philosophy, your own path. I'm not saying philosophy means you create your philosophy and try to get 100 people. Not that kind of philosophy. You create for yourself. For your own self, you create, this is what makes sense for me, and I want to go with this. It doesn't mean that you have to necessarily associate with somebody. Like yesterday we spoke, right? Even in Bhagavad Gita, we said, does this Bhagavan, does this consciousness, does this Atma care? Which philosophy are you following? Does it really care? What you're trying to do is dissolve this identity. Dissolving this identity doesn't matter what tool you use. The idea is experiencing joy within. What philosophies existed before them? Did we not have any realized souls before Ramanuja, before Adi Shankara, before Buddha? Did we not have any realized beings, realized souls? It is not like in a timeline after this we had 3,000 realized souls. After this timeline we had 50,000. After this we had another 100,000. It's not like that. At all points in time, we had realized beings. To talk about realized beings in the Vedic literature, in the Bharadhyaranyaka Upanishad, you talk about Yajnavalkya. In Chandogya Upanishad, you talk about Uddalaka, Pachashravas. So many gurus and teachers and rishis have been there, and millions of people have been there who have reached a state of inner accomplishment. They didn't hold on to a particular philosophy. Which is why you notice Vedas don't talk about a particular philosophy at all. Vedanta is common. Upanishads and Vedanta are common to all. Doesn't talk about a particular philosophy. Teachers came out, created a form because the people at that time wanted some structure, wanted some way to look at these things, wanted a method. Which is why we should always bring our minds back to where it all originated from. The oldest times. Our rishis are the greatest spiritual scientists. Will anybody say Agastya was an Advaitin or a Vishishtadvaitin? How will you know? Although in the movies Agastya is shown with Namam, with Bhasmam. That's how he's shown in the movies. But you don't know what, there was no such isms there at that time. There was no philosophies of this kind at that time. This is something that we need to understand. So on the day of the Jayanti of these Mahapurushas, it is important to see them, which is why you see the image of both of them together. Although you see Ramanuja has come much later, again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is further later, and then you had so many Neo-Vedantists. Today you see Neo-Vedantists. There are so many teachers of Vedanta, right? If you go look up the internet, you put Neo Vedanta teachers. You'll have a lot of them. Because each one has their own experience. What we try to do is we want to connect it to what experience I have, whatever understanding I have. I want to connect it to a philosophy so that I want to give my experience credibility. You understand what we do? This is the way the mind works. I get an experience. Now suddenly I want to say, oh, this is the experience that Adi Shankaracharya mentioned in the Saundarya Lahari. We want to create that kind of a connection because we want to give it credibility. But experience is experience. It is not bound by a philosophy. Correct. I'm saying Ramanuja wanted mantra to reach all commoners. Because at that time, that was the need. That is the need. He wanted to get it to the masses. So, the important thing to note is that today we are in a very, very blessed situation. We have to take it that way because we have all of this available. The other problem is also causes confusion because all of this is available. Earlier, if you said that a lot of times there's research being done, you take a child and show 4 ice cream flavors, it will be easily able to pick up one flavor. Now you show the child 55 different flavors, the child is confused. Stress Research says the child becomes stressed. Oh my God, which one do I pick? Because it thinks if I pick one, I'll miss out the other. And maybe that one is better. Maybe this one is better. This is a problem we have. We have the problem of many today. Choice is also causing us a lot of confusion. But here's my point. Don't worry about what each is going to give you. Worry about what you are able to connect with. Yes, I'm so glad being a vegetarian because restaurant menus only have 2 or 3 options. Yeah, if you're sitting in Austin, maybe that's a thing. But you come to Dubai, there are at least 4,000 vegetarian restaurants here. So the important thing is we know whatever appeals to me. And of course through our family, our culture, our tradition, whatever, there are things that have been offered, we pick that up and that helps us. But along the way, we get something, we get associated with something, we fall in love with a particular method, tool, and a particular form, a particular association deepens within us. We take that and go. We shouldn't evaluate to say that would this be better, and going half my life I've done this, now is this the right thing I've been doing? Doesn't matter. If that intention, as I said, intention is important, the goalpost is key. If that intention is right, things will get added onto you. Suddenly somebody will come and give you something and go. And I'm saying this all from personal experience. I'm saying this is the way it works. As we say, Guru is that process of unfolding within you. On the outside, it comes in whatever form. It can come in the form of a book, it can come in the form of a person, it can come in the form of an incident, a situation, whatever. But we should be open, we should be receiving. We should be able to see that one meaning. If I take the poem of Rumi, those who know Jalaluddin Rumi, was a Sufi saint, able to pick up the poem of Rumi, we should be able to experience that joy. I'm not saying suddenly, okay, next time you have to go look for a dargah and look for where Sufis are, they go together, I want to stand, dance, and all that. No, you don't have to do all that. But whatever comes your way, look at it from that perspective. The Paramahamsa Yogananda, Gurudev, he said he had written a commentary on a work called Rubaiyat. And Rubaiyat was a work written by a philosopher called Umar Khayyam. Umar Khayyam wrote this work, and the time he had written, he was probably beaten or stoned to death or whatever. I don't remember, or probably he was not. But then there was a lot of ridicule that happened in the society because it was a lot about wine, women, and all of that. But when Gurudev Paramahamsa Yogananda saw that work, he saw there is so much of depth in it. And then he was looking at that, and he writes it in one of his books. In fact, in the prelude to Umar Khayyam, the Rubaiyat commentary, he writes this. He says, suddenly the walls of the outer meaning collapsed in front of him, and he was able to perceive the inner meaning with which the philosopher had written it. And he brings out, it's a very beautiful work, it's worth reading. And he brings out how beautifully the metaphorical representations that he has mentioned correlates to very profound truths. So all of these works that are available, we should keep looking out. We should suddenly, you see a work on Dattatreya's 24 Gurus. We should be able to read that and understand and appreciate that. We look at these. Again, we should not, as I'm saying, we shouldn't go wayward and try to jump from one particular, if you're on a particular thing you're doing, continue doing. Be open to all of this. Something may get added to your sadhana, something may get added to your perspective, something may get added, open up your way of perceiving. And this is a beautiful journey. Like Mama yesterday said, there is a bucket list of things that we have to look at and understand. There are so many stotras and mantras and shlokas and compositions. That is exactly what it is. I've picked up Bhartrahari's Vairagya Shatakam for the Yatra. I don't know how many of you have heard of it. 100 verses he has written on Vairagya. Very beautiful work. We pick up something from that. We learn something from that. We don't go and evaluate, Bhartrahari, did he pray to Shiva? Did he put a Rudraksha? Did he look at Narayana? Did he? No, nothing. So, very important, how do we bring about this jnana and bhakti together? So, to me, these two represent that. If at all you want to just give a very singular representation to both of these acharyas, you want to see them as both of your, whatever happens in you as a process, one is jnana, the other is bhakti. They are just manifested on the outside like this. And can you have one without the other? If you have true jnana, there is bhakti. Ramana Maharshi was a jnani, but he ran to Arunachala and hugged him and cried. He had tears in his eyes. And when you have bhakti, jnana automatically is present. When you are filled with bhakti, there is jnana. So both of this is what we need to take on this day. Recognize that I need to develop jnanam and bhakti. It doesn't matter through whatever method. Of course, doesn't matter means you don't keep jumping methods or techniques or tools. But the end goal is this. I need to develop this understanding. I need to develop this bhakti. Whenever I see, wherever I see, I should be able to look at the profoundness of things. The profundity of things is what I need to be able to see through. Am I developing this within me? This is the most important thing.
Acharya கூட
There is a talk. Correct.
Jnana and Bhakti.
Correct.
One and the same.
It is a very beautiful talk. Rajaji's talk just before Bhaja Govindam, M.S. Subbalakshmi's Bhaja Govindam. You listen to this, it's a 2-minute talk. You may find it on the internet. And he explains both are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. Or one is not complete without the other. You cannot have dry jnana. You cannot have just knowledge and say that there is no heart. At the same time, you can't be so just in bhakti and you say that I don't understand what is happening. Of course, bhakti will develop understanding and jnana within you. But naturally, if it does not, then it becomes blind faith. That is what we need to also understand. When bhakti becomes fanaticism, I say I am bhakti, I am a bhakta, then you go chop off people, you haven't understood it. Bhakti must develop understanding, knowledge. This should develop. So together, this is our goal. This is what we should pursue in developing within ourselves. And this is what in today's on today their Jayanti, we should try to, when we look at the two of them, it's not about two individuals or two philosophies or two kinds of communities or groups of people. It is about developing jnanam and bhakti, devotion, prapatti, surrender, and on the other hand, understanding, knowledge, swadhyaya, we study, we read, we also do kainkaryam, we do puja, we do archana, we do abhisheka, all of that we do. We do that with love. At the same time, we also study swadhyaya, we do dhyana, we do meditation, we do introspection, we go in, we say Atma, there is nothing else, witness, consciousness. And then we go out and say, oh Krishna, you are so beautiful. I do abhisheka, do you? This exchange needs to happen. This is what will make us complete. This is what will make us complete. This is where the amalgamation of philosophies and all of that comes together. Okay. So we'll pause with that today. Thank you. I think today we didn't do anything on Saundarya Lahari. But this I felt is also important.
This is very important. The philosophy is we don't get stuck to that, but instead we take it and experience it, and
Correct.
We need to experience it.
Absolutely. And in fact, I didn't want to spend time talking about their life story, talking about the philosophy. Right? That we've spoken earlier, we've said what are the differences, what are the similarities. All of that is there. I want to bring about the idea that these two are representations, and it doesn't matter these two. It is about any philosophy, which is what I was wanting to kind of bring about. Today, that needs to come out. We need to be able to look at any philosophy, anything, and go back, which is where I always like to go back to the Vedic times or the pre-Vedic times, the times of the rishis, and where this was dealt with, that exploration used to happen with greater ease. You're not bound by a community or a social structure, or all of that is not there. That exploration used to happen in a much more free way, right? We should feel that freedom of exploration inside. How we engage on the outside is different, but inside, let us be that free exploration. Because even only understand this, freedom is what you're seeking. If you're looking for liberation and freedom, how can you be stuck to a particular way? If you're starting off bound, creating bondages in the path itself, how can you expect freedom? You've already put shackles on your legs. You've put chains to your legs. So let's explore whatever comes our way in the most beautiful way, with the understanding that knowledge and devotion, understanding and devotion, bhakti, surrender, both of them we develop together, right? Okay, so we'll pause here today. Okay. ॐ कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि, सदाशिवायेति समर्पयामि, जगदम्बिकेति समर्पयामि, सद्गुरुनाथायेति समर्पयामि। हरि ओं तत्सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।
हरि ओम, धन्यवाद।